Good afternoon. My name is Shah Peerally, or good morning, what time you're watching this video. My name is Shah Peerally, and I am the president of and the founder of Shah Peerally Law Group. We are a law firm located in the Bay Area. We have been practicing immigration law for a while now. It's been many years, almost 7 years, and we have done an excellent job in the immigrant community. And today I'm going to talk about something which is very interesting because I keep getting this question from some people. The question is, how do I fix my papers? Well, the truth is that even they use the word fix my papers, we cannot, as lawyers, fix your papers. What we can do is to guide you or protect your legal rights to get the benefits of immigration. The immigration system in America, unlike many other countries in the world, is a very good system. Because it is designed to help immigrants still come to this country and make a life for themselves and for their family. And for that, we praise the American legal system and the freedom that we have in this country. So how does the system work so that we can fix, quote unquote, fix your paper? Well, as I mentioned, we're not going to fix your paper, but there are many ways you can immigrate to the United States. The basic ones are the family petitions, which are the spouses, siblings, and parents petition, or parents sponsoring for children. The other ones are what we call employment-based petitions, which we do extensively in the office, such as H-1Bs, L visas, O visas, P visas, Q visas, R visas, and the labor certification process, which is a way to get a green card, and also the adjustment of status. The other options are also is an option that is available in many countries of the world, which is called the asylum. Asylum is basically if you fear to go back to your home country, you can get an asylum in the United States. I am not going to go into details on each and every of them, but I'll just give you some point that would be interesting about what you should know basically in order for you to immigrate to the United States. For one, you cannot just immigrate because you decided to immigrate to the United States. You have to have something that can basically make you stay in this country. You can come as a visitor, for example, on a B2 visa or a B1 visa for transactional purposes. But if you want to stay here and work here, for example, you will need something like an H1 visa, TN1 visa for Canadians and Mexicans, and also you can also try for O visa for people of extraordinary abilities, or visas such as P visas for people in the entertainment industries. But the word, what I wanted to talk today is the word fixing, because I hear it all the time on my radio shows, people calling, hey, I want to fix my papers. Again, you cannot fix it. For example, let's say you came to the United States on a visitor visa, you stayed here and even you overstayed, because the visa that they give you to enter on your passport, even it says 10 years, usually when you get at the port of entry, this is where the officer, the DHS officer, Department of Homeland Security, will make a decision whether to allow you in this country or not. At this point, they will give you a form I-94 usually. The I-94 form is a form that will allow you certain status in the United States. Again, as a matter of disclaimer, I have to mention everything that I'm going to tell you today is purely educational. You should not act or refrain to act just based on what I'm telling you. So, very important. You should know that when you're entering, even you have a 10-year visa, for example, it's not 10 years they're giving you to enter the United States. You can travel back and forth within the period of 10 years, but the determination is made at the port of entry. This is when they're going to issue a status, and this is what's going to control when you enter the United States. And that's usually the form I-94. Let's say you enter that, they give you 6 months to stay in the United States. You're basically not allowed to stay more than the 6 months. But depending on the visas, you might be able to shift it to another visa. For example, you can do a change of status to an H-1B visa, an O visa, an L visa, or things like that. For some countries in the world, they benefit from what we call the visa waiver program. The visa waiver program is a program designed to allow people You don't need a stamp on your passport to come to the United States. It's at the port of entry that the officer, immigration officer, will make a determination to let you in. Unfortunately, such visas will not allow you to change status to another visa. For example, you can change to an L visa or an O visa. However, you can do an adjustment of status to marriage, for example. That's allowed, or an asylum, which is usually not available for countries which has a visa waiver program. I am talking a lot of things here. The idea here is, which is important, is how you enter the United States. It becomes very, very important, especially if you're filing certain cases. For example, a marriage petition. If you enter the United States on some visas, most of those visas, and you enter legally, okay, even if it's just for one day, you enter legally, and later on you fall in love, you want to get married to a United States citizen, you should be able to adjust your status and get a green card without leaving the country. Now what happens is, many people ask me the question, but I've overstayed. They gave me 6 months and I stayed 2 years. It will probably be forgiven under a marriage petition. It's sometimes also forgiven under an asylum, but asylum has other rules. For example, you have 1 year to file it while you enter. I'm not getting into details of any of all those cases, but I'm just giving an overview of how the immigration system works in the United States and how you entered specifically, so that you can ultimately, quote unquote, fix your papers, which is not a term again that I would like to use, but people use it all the time. What we are talking here is fixing your papers legally, basically going to the route of the immigration system that has been set by a very, very good legal system in the United States. Although there are some doubts sometimes, but the truth is that it's a very, very good system. And it is very well elaborated, and it's done in a way that it helps people to bring their family or to bring workers, people of knowledge to this country, and that's what makes the United States of America a great country. So, going back to fixing your papers, I was talking about the marriage petition. Let's say now, for example, you cross the border. That means you entered without inspection, which back in the days we used to call EWI. If you entered EWI and you try to get married with a US citizen, unless you can benefit from Immigration Nationality Act 245I, which is a life act, you might not be able to adjust status. Be very careful. You might not be able to adjust status. And some people have unfortunately also think, well, while the petition is filed, it's approved, the immigration has approved the I-130 petition, which is the first part of getting the green card. I can just go back to my country and pick up the green card and come back. Well, this is doable provided in certain conditions. For example, it is doable if you didn't pass 180 days of overstay on your visa. And if you entered EWI, pretty much you're going to be barred. Or if you have, you are under 18 and you have left before that, because what we're talking here is what we call unlawful presence. I'm getting into different issues of law here. The reason I'm just kind of putting it together is because it's so complicated sometimes for people, and it's very, very hard to explain in very much into layman terms. But in simple terms, if you entered illegally, you have a problem to adjust status, and if you try to file a marriage petition, there's a big chance you will not get the green card, although part of the petition will be approved. And don't leave the country without talking to a good attorney. And you can call us on 510-742-5887. And what we are talking about today is fix your papers. There are other options now. The 245I that I just mentioned is when something was filed for you in 1998 or prior or on precisely April 30th, 2001. And you can, for April 30th, 2001, you have to show presence in December 2000 in this country. Very, very important. Because if you don't have that, then you will have a problem. You'll have to leave the country. And if you leave the country, then you'll have other problems that you might not be coming back, because there are two other rules that will kick in. One of them is a 3-year bar or the 10-year bar. So it is very, very important that you check with an immigration attorney before you make any move. Now, what are the other options? Some people will say, well, I can get an employer to petition for me, because it's very important to have an employer, for example, to get an H-1B. Now, we're not talking about people who entered illegally. I'm talking about people who entered legally on a visa, but still have not overstayed. Their status is still valid, but they want to work in this country, and they're very qualified. you need to have an employer most of the time. Unlike many other countries, and I'm not licensed in other countries to tell you about their laws, but many other countries have a point system. Not many, some countries that we know about have a point system. United States doesn't have a point system. You either get petition or you can self-petition. One of the self-petition that we have done successfully in this office is the national interest waiver. The national interest waiver applies for people who are of national interest. And you don't need an employer, and you don't have to go to the labor certification process. So you can check more about a national interest waiver on our website, PeerallyLaw.com or usimmigrationquestion.com, and you can have an idea how a national interest waiver works. The other option also is the EB-1A. EB-1A, and those are straight green card, by the way. And for those who understand a little bit how the system works, national interest waiver is an EB2 category, employment-based category 2. And again, as I was telling you earlier, it is no way I can basically talk about the entire immigration process in one video of 15 minutes. However, what I'm trying to do here, I am just trying to get you something to get going about fixing your papers. You have the EB-1A for people of extraordinary abilities, and not many people qualify for that, and you can read about it also on our website, PeerallyLaw.com. And the other thing that also you have is for people who entered and are battered spouse, for example. The VAWA petitions will apply. And good thing with VAWA is, remember I was saying that if you entered illegally, well, even if you entered illegally, you can still get a green card through VAWA. You don't have to leave the country, and you don't need 245I. VAWA is a Violence Against Women Act, and it applies also to men. And you can read also about this on my blog or on my website. The blog is immigrationlegalblog.com, immigrationlegalblog.com. So the final thing I'm going to tell you is basically you have a lot of other ways to come to the United States. Do it legally. And another caution words that I'm going to tell you, please use a licensed attorney. Use a licensed attorney to help you. We have seen too many people taking advantage of people calling themselves immigration consultants. There are only few immigration consultants that are allowed to practice, and those are work for non-profit organizations, and they are licensed by the Board of Immigration Appeals. The rest are pretty much not allowed to practice law, and many of them go to jail. So you don't want to get into trouble by hiring someone who end up going to jail, and your case gets denied after that because you use them. So having said that, if you have more questions on immigrations, feel free to call us on 510-742-5887. I was talking about fixing your papers. Even this is not fixing your papers. This is helping you to file those petitions. And if you need any help on marriage petitions, parents petitions, we're very, very good at it. And H-1B holders also, call us 510-742-5887. And again, everything I've told you today is for educational purposes only. Nobody should act or refrain to act just solely based on the information that I've given to you. Thank you very much, and keep tuning on our YouTube video on youtube.com/PeerallyLaw.